Peace, and love. MoodyBugz here from Masters Born Academy on Vibes with Moody. Today we're going to be trading NASDAQ again, right? I'm always trading NASDAQ. However, people here in the community they love to trade options as well. So if you want to trade options, you can trade SPY, QQQ, TQQQ, or even QQQM. Bow. However, give me a second while I share my screen. All right, there it is. I got the VIX pulled up right now. However, we may end up filling gap on the VIX to the downside, which will send the market flying. However, we have to make sure after we sweep these liquidity zones, like around like 1862, it's actually like 1864, right? Because we could potentially just create another support here, right? From that reversal pattern just going up. So we'll see exactly what happens to take advantage of the market. However, coming over here to NASDAQ, I didn't even mark up my entries just yet because we are a little overextended and I want to see if we could get a nice little pullback. However, one thing that I do know here is this was my put entry. I'm gonna give another put entry just in case we can break. I'm gonna put it here and you're gonna see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop this bad boy down a little bit lower just to ensure that we don't get just triggered. And I'm putting a little bit under the support, under this bull flag, under the daily opening price, right? Because that's a bias. However, for the call price, I really want to pull back. However, I do know that if we cross over here, this white line here, and I'll just go ahead and remove, I'll make this one white too to look at it as a bounce. However, right here at $25,225.25, that's going to be a call entry for us. You can also utilize that 25,216.50. However, we have a nice support right there, right? So before grabbing that entry, we got to be able to break that resistance. Sorry, I said support. We got to be able to break that resistance, stay on top of it. You see right here how we got an inverted head and shoulders right here, right? Shoulder, left shoulder, right? We got a head here. We got a right shoulder here. Bull flag breakout, as I was mentioning, we'll have to be over that to take that entry point, right? The market's not open just yet. However, for futures, you could take that entry point now if you would like to, right? It's triggering the second one now. However, we can still utilize those entry points as a break and retest. However, for puts, we have $25,146.50 as well as $25,085.25, right? However, we're extremely bullish at this moment, right? We got a nice little uptrend as well. Yet I'm going to want to see the market pull back. Now, if she doesn't, we'll find our way inside of there. However, the best thing right now is to wait for a pullback, right? And I say that we'll get the pullback, right? We got a few more minutes before the market opens up here. I say about like 12 minutes or so. That should give us enough time to be able to pull back if it wants to. However, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions. I may go over to SPY and chart SPY up as well. Or I may just stay right here on NASDAQ. If you would like me to chart SPY or QQQ, just drop it in the chat and just let me know. However, Latonson, you had a question, my brother. Mhm. Gotcha. So when I say that we're overextended, I'm never really talking about price action. I'm talking about the price action. However, what I'm looking at is my RSI, right? Um, and the reason being is, let me go ahead and give you a visual so that you can see. And I'll start here on a 5 on this one. So if you just look right here, you see that we're already like getting to that 80 mark. However, here on a 4-minute, and I'm gonna just walk her down so that you're able to see, it's getting there as well. Yet when we travel all the way back down, it's getting there as well, right? When we go to the 2-minute, it's getting there as well. When we go to the 1-minute, it's there. It's just been rejecting, going up, and you already know. Well, certain strategies I'm not just gonna go ahead and put out on the YouTube. I would like you to come into the community and get to know the community, and pick up some gems and things of that nature. However, I'll definitely give you that gem once I take the first couple of trades and we go back into the community. However, what I would tell you is, see, we're pulling back. One thing I'll tell you, see how we're all the way up here? It always has to pull back sometimes. Not sometimes, majority of the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and wait for a pullback, right? Because I've been trading for 6 years and I have never seen this just go and keep going and keep going. You know, it could bounce from here and things of that nature, and stay overextended. Yet we have to pay attention to that. So then as well, you know, since I like to manipulate time frame and I trade on the seconds as well, as I come over here on a 45, I seen how we were overextended. This was a little bit earlier in the day, right? At pre-market, and I'm seeing it again and I'm seeing it again. So I want this pullback. See, this is a nice pullback right here. It's not that overextended anymore, right? So when we go over here to the 30-second as well, you know, we could continue to see these things, right? So this was a nice pullback, and I can see that pullback from all the way over here since I trade on a 5-second chart, right? You see, I would have caught that pullback and brought it up with y'all. That makes sense? Awesome. Love to hear it. All right. So we got a nice little pin bar that swept liquidity to the downside, created an evening star, triggered an evening star, bounced off of the 50% retracement of its previous candlestick, giving a nice hammer at the moment. Now we got a dragonfly doji, and that's the hammer. It was giving a pin bar at the moment, went into the dragonfly doji, into the hammer, and now it keeps giving a pin bar. Pin bar will always have a small wick at the top, right? So yeah, we're just right now. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm just gonna stay patient and wait for this market to open up, right? Um, do. Since I'm not getting any questions at the moment, I'm gonna just come over here to SPY, right? SPY is doing the same thing that Nasdaq is doing. However, I'll drop this one down and give you some day trade entries, and that's why I'm all the way on a smaller time frame, right? Where automatically, if we was to come back down here on SPY and break that level, I would literally go for puts right there. And these would be your targets that I'm marking out right now that you'll want to take out, like when it goes back down. I'll make it look a little prettier here in a second where it makes much more sense. Right now that I got that liquidity to the downside, right, for puts, the VIX just continues to trigger. That's beautiful. However, I'm just drawing up some support and resistance at the moment, right? Some critical ones. Oh my gosh, it got right to it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we definitely are going to need to get back over that, and that's going to claim bullish. All right, so you got some nice support and resistance that I'm drawing out, and what you can do as I'm doing it is literally not just watch me, but look at these numbers that are on my chart, and literally just go ahead and populate them on your chart. That's all, right? So that you can have your own visual. Now that I've done that, I'm just bring it down to a smaller time frame here, and I'm actually going to take it up to a higher time frame just so I can find this call entry. There it is. Wow. I will literally tell you to stay patient on SPY and just wait for that. And then you can start taking out some profits around here, and I'll give you some more scales where you can get them at. All these green lines you can start scaling out on SPY. However, I'm gonna give you a few more now. I just had to go to a larger time frame first so I can get some nice distance of that liquidity. Now, for anybody that likes to scalp and they're heavy on their trades, they'll have some more areas where they can go ahead and just scale out a SPY, right? Yeah, I like those right there. That's off. My apologies. That's off again. All right, cool. What time is it? Okay, we have about 6 minutes left. All right, we can come down here. Got an entry, and I'm not advising anybody to do what I'm doing, where I'm coming down to these extra smaller time frames. Like if you don't understand how to utilize them, I would tell you to, um, practice, research, ask questions before just jumping in and things of that nature. Man, I want to break this candlestick down. There's a liquidity in there. Where you at? You think I don't see you? Yeah. Dang, it's literally, yeah, it's right there. I thought it was the entry point. All right, cool. Yep, that's how I like SPY, and I gave it for a day trade where, it's going to give you time to be able to enter this trade. Your entry point for calls is going to be right here at $681.48. Your entry point for puts are going to be at 678. $678 and $76. I said it like that because I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's one of our area codes. That was pretty funny. However, yeah, we're looking nice. This market's looking nice. Now, Latanson, over there on Zoom, in the community, you see how here, on SPY on a 5 minute, we're overextended, my brother. So that's why I was saying, hey, I'm looking for a pullback, right? Yet we have to understand that we're not nowhere near overextended on a 15-minute time frame. Those are the things that you have to be able to put together and things of that nature, and then utilize a smaller time frame that's pulling back to be able to get into that trade and capitalize off of it. Let's put her on a fiber. And there goes that pullback, right? And there she goes pulling back. Let's go over here to the NASDAQ. Let's move that right there. Let's put SPY back on the VIX just so I can keep an eye on her. All right, we're gonna move that over here to about a 45. And you see we're overextended. You see this, Latanson? We're overextended to the downside on the VIX. So we know that the VIX needs to pop here soon, or it can just stay bloody for a second before popping, right? Man, trading is so beautiful, especially when you're able to see the ocean from a distance and just truly ground yourself, see things for what they are, allow things to pass, take your time. It's really beautiful. Yet it's us that make things hard, you know? Humans make things hard, you know? We're a little complicated. We're a little complicated, man. It's all right. All right, so we're getting a nice pullback. So that's really great. I got the 15-second pulled up here that I'm gonna be watching. I'll actually personally be trading on a 5-second time frame, and I'll be looking at the 5 minute as well, and just jumping around from time frames. I'll most likely move the 5 minute down to the 1 minute. And there you go, Latanson, right? You see that pullback that we're getting right here on NASDAQ or even on SPY? That's gonna be us being overextended to the downside on the VIX, and the VIX is now starting to pop up, right? Um, it moves fairly slow, and then I would have to go like to a smaller time frame so that you can start seeing it. But it's like it moves very slow. It doesn't move as other securities move, right? So just always keep that in mind. Mhm. You see, there we go. We broke liquidity. We broke the support. We'll see if it'll come back and test. You know, that's why you see me just sending alerts. But my alert just hit. Oh no, it didn't. It's about to though. All right, let's go over here to NASDAQ. We got the time frames ready. We got a nice tweezer top um, breaking support, and seeing if it's going to go to the next support and break that to take out the liquidity. You know, we're going to be patient here. We're going to be patient here. I feel like she's setting up perfectly for us. I will be looking for calls, right? And we can still utilize some of these call entries right here, right? And I'll let you know, hey, I'm in calls. You guys can get in with me. All right, so we have about 1 minute before the market opens up. So let's go ahead and stay patient right here. Well, I'm a little wrong. We have about 1 minute and 8 seconds. And we can see that from right here off this 5 minute time frame. We're literally about to have 60 seconds right now before the market opens up. Got a nice little bear flag right here on a small time frame, trying to take out liquidity to come down to the support. This is where it wants to bounce from, but it doesn't have to. But highly likely that it'll bounce before just breaking, right? And that's a bounce right there, so that you understand it. You see that? You seeing how it just came down? You see how it's wicking up? That's called a bounce, right? And it's doing that off of the support, right? The body of that candlestick. And if we leave that support and it just rejects under it once we break it, shit, 9 times out of 10 try to come take this out. We just gotta watch to see if it'll bounce from here, right? And I'm gonna clean this support up a little bit better and just put it right there. And then I'm gonna grab another one because I had it right there, and I just want to see if it'll bounce from here as well. All right, cool. We have about 5 seconds till the market opens up. Let's go ahead and be patient. All right, there we go. Getting a nice little pullback already. Let's see if it'll sweep liquidity or just leave these two lower lows. Some people look at that as a double bottom. I mean, I'm just gonna stay patient, see if we take it all the way down to the 4 hour time frame and the daily hour time frame and see how it wants to perform there, right? Everything that I've seen here is playing out, just swept out liquidity, bouncing off the 50% retracement, right? Just staying patient, staying patient. I would love to see us. Oh, there it is, starting to move. Let's see. All right, y'all. I'm buying calls. I'm in calls, my loved ones. We're already in profits. I haven't scaled anything just yet. We're starting to pull back now. I'll be looking to add to the position once I get a nice confirmation to the upside. Okay, I'm adding, and there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and scale. Dang, I'm not recording myself. All right, recording myself now. I'm gonna take one more scale right there. All right. If we can break over these white lines, I'll add to the position. There it is. I'm adding. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and scale a little bit, and we just pulled back. We're still in profits though. All right, we're down. I'm holding these last two runners. I took out a good bit of profits. I want to see if I'm going to get a morning star right here. If I go under this green line, I will cut the trade. We're starting to test it. I'm still holding it, seeing if it's going to reject or if we're going to hold above it. It just rejected a little bit. Ooh, we got a nice little bounce. I'm still in the trade. Let's see if we could get over the support, which is our blue line. If not, I'm just going to let go of this trade. All right, I'm closing it right now. And I just feel like it's about to drop. That's why I closed it, because it couldn't get back over here, right? See, boom, just dropped. I didn't like that. So let me just bring you over here. And before I do that, let me just check my P&L and just make sure that we're all good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I made 1,400. And let me not say that. It was actually 1,300, close to 1,400. I'm just rounding it up. I may take one more trade. We'll see. However, bringing it down here to the 5-second time frame, the reason I ended up getting out is this is when I told you guys, hey, if we break under this green line, I'm going to end up cutting the trade. So it did so, but it was green and it was trying to test this level again one more time, right? I just want to say this real quickly. If it goes back to this blue line and it doesn't break, go ahead and grab shorts. You can also grab shorts from here, just the way that this price action is moving at the moment. Right here. That red line, I'm gonna make it white. That's gonna be your short entry. If it goes through there, go ahead and buy you some puts. If it goes through and holds under, and you can start scaling out around here. Look, I'll do it with you. I already see it happening. I'm in puts, y'all. All right. There it is. Let's just wait. There it is. All right, you can scale it out now. Just gonna hold a little bit longer to see if I can just rip out that 4-hour time frame. All right, let's scale it one more time right here. I'm gonna hold one contract. Now I'm gonna close that. That's it. Ooh, and I did it perfectly. Let me show you why I closed it. All right, so the reason I closed it is these dojis, right? I wanted to break support like really hard and break under this. So I was able to scale right there, and I scaled one more time right here. This is what made me want to get out. Once I seen that this went down like that and it started to go up, I automatically imagine a morning star, meaning these pillars right here creates a morning star, it creates your cup and handle. There goes your inverted head and shoulders. That's the only reason I got out, right? I still feel like this is going to go down. See, it's going to go down lower. It's just when you're scalping, you have to be very, very cautious with your trade. I'm going to just be honest with you guys. This has a nice uptrend, yet the way that she's moving, anything around these levels here, you can add shorts to. Anything around these levels. The thing is that most people are going to want to buy their shorts right here. What you have to understand that you don't want to buy the short right there. This is your support level. You see how I bought it there and I got out pretty quickly? It's because I knew I was at support. I knew that this could bounce, right? I called the morning star right there. Look at how it populated again. There goes your inverted head and shoulders again. That's why I said right here is where you want to start to enter your shorts. Around these levels is where you want to enter your shorts. And look what just happened. We came down another $8, another $7, right? I don't have to sit here and take every single trade that I see, right? I just smack this market. And that's one thing that I do understand, where it's like, hey, look, I'm not even looking at my P&L right now. I remember I was up like about 1375. It was $1,375. However, right now, there's no point of me looking at it because I know I'm up even more. Yeah, what I want people to be able to understand is, you see, you made your money. What you want to do here now is close your charts. And I'll say it the correct way. You don't want to close your charts. What you want to do from here is log out of your Robinhood, your Webull, your TOS, your prop firms accounts, right? And what you want to do from here is log into a paper trade because you'll end up taking a trade, but you'll end up taking it in a paper trade, right? Why am I saying that? Because you want to gain the discipline. You want to gain the discipline of, hey, I do this. And then now I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to teach myself where it's like, you see what I'm doing? Why is it harder for me to miss than other people? Because I'm explaining what I'm about to do. Not only am I explaining, I'm telling you, remember when I told you this is going to break? But this is the support. This is where everybody starts to buy right here. And this is why they get scared. Then they start to add to their positions. And then they end up blowing an account or whatever the case may be because it's testing still. You see, it's testing. This is still testing. You know what I'm saying? But this is the level. You're right when you see that. Yet you have to know how to play it. You want to break a support, you got to buy a resistance. You want to break a resistance, you got to buy a support. Why? Because it's going to be more likely that you'll end up in profits, right? The good thing about trading is that you can make money at any time that you can, that you want to. Yeah, you can lose money as well anytime, especially not having the right setups. And a strategy is just you planning something out, right? So you need a setup before you need a strategy, right? Because how are you gonna strategically strategize without a setup, you know? So with that being said, let me see what else can I give you guys real quick. Before I do that, I am gonna come over here to SPY, right? And this is what I meant. You see how we broke, right? We swept out the liquidity here. However, we're now back at support. And to this candlestick, it'll be resistance, right? Which could be giving us a morning star, right? You see that there, right? So just let's be cautious. However, let's go ahead, come over to SPY, and let's see if we have some great entry points or if not, right? And as we see, what did I mention? Hey, I'm gonna give you some day trading levels. And look, have you triggered? No, you're still waiting to get into a trade if you're in SPY, right? Because I gave you day trading levels, meaning, hey, once you break this level, you enter your puts and you take her down. Once you break this level, you enter your calls and you take her up, right? And that's the difference between someone that knows how to chart, right? You can chart it to scalp, or you can chart it to swing, or you can chart it to day trade. So with that being said, I want to say one thing. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like what you just saw. However, till next time, peace and love.